Welcome to Velarde Farm. Today we are gonna process some chickens. So let me show you the operation real quick and what we got going on. Okay. And my little rock helpers. Hard at work. We also run a prison farm here for children. Those kids right now are humping rocks because
we're making more shade for the chickens.
More shade for the chickens. There you go. Okay. Right down here are our pooch helpers. That's Buddy and Heidi. We may try to process Heidi today. We're not sure. We've never processed a dog before, but we hear they're pretty tasty.
We're not.
All right. Well, this is my wife. She is the real brains of this operation. A really hard worker. She's going to be slitting some throats today, so you guys are in some real action. I wouldn't mess with her. She's pretty tough. Anyways, this is our processing table. Trash can for all the waste stuff we're not going to utilize. We use these buckets to catch the blood. The wife likes to use it in the gardening. These are our killing cones. The killing cones, if you're going to use killing cones, you need really large ones for Cornish Cross, especially if you grow them to 8 weeks. Depending on how you grow them. Our birds are pretty big. The ones we're doing today are probably right around 8 to 9 pounds. So big killing cones are good to have. I got these from Wright Farm Products. We've had these for several years and they do us pretty good. We'll show you how all that works here. The other thing you want to have too is a chill tank. Chill tank is, so I'm just using a big 120 quart Igloo ice chest. Water and ice in it. And after we gut them, we'll throw them in there to let them cool off before we bag them and freeze them. Over here is the Pluck Master 4000. This is a plucking machine that I built. It's not my design. It's a basically somebody else I saw had one online on a YouTube video. It's pretty cool, and I built one for myself. So there you go. And this is our scorch take. I might have to fire it back up. It got pretty hot. You only want it around about 160 to 170 degrees. Any hotter than that, and if you're dunking too long, you'll start peeling skin off as well as feathers in the plucking machine. So you want to be careful of that. So just watch your temperature on that. All right, in just a few seconds here, we're going to start pulling some chickens in, and we'll walk you through the process.
I'm going to talk about what we wear, what I wear, because Mike doesn't care that it gets filthy and nasty. First, I always have my mud boots on. It gets really hot, but I'm still wearing socks. I'm wearing a pair of Mike socks underneath because it's gross to have your feet in there with short socks. Also, I wear a full apron to cover everything, and this is my butcher apron. I don't use it anywhere else. I do wash it in hot water afterwards, but then it just keeps you from, because you're going to get blood on yourself, it keeps a lot of the blood and the inevitable poop off of your clothes. And then also bags. I'm not sure Mike talked about this. So I get some gallon-sized Ziplocs because we save the feet and the heart and gizzards. So I have 3 bags here to save those parts.
Okay, we're heading out to get some chickens. And this is a little bit of the farm here, the sheep. I'll lock that gate on. Okay. Oh, this is Henri. Henri is he's our resident turkey. He's about going on close to 5 years old now, I think.
Barnyard manager.
Yeah, he's our barnyard manager. He oversees the farm.
He has some arthritis, so he's limping around.
Here comes Virgil. Virgil is a mess. He's shedding. It's
Yes.
getting warmer here on the farm, and all his winter fur is coming off, and probably brush him. And we have the meat chickens.
Sad. Mama, why you
I held their feed back. When we butcher, it's good to hold their feed back the night before. We don't feed them. We're in those last stages, so we're not feeding them at night. Anyways, we were in the beginning feeding them 24 hours a day around the clock. But with a 24% feed, they'll get big really fast. So at some point, you got to cut that back if you're going to continue with the 24% feed. So I stopped feeding them at night and only during the day. They did not get any food this morning because the ones we're going to be butchering, we want them to be pretty well cleaned through. Otherwise, they poop on everything. And
They poop anyway. It's
so,
the crops.
yeah, and the crops. We want the crops to be empty. So we're going to grab some chickens. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to properly dispatch a chicken. We want to do it as humanely as possible. We don't want to just lop the head off because they'll start hopping around all over the place. That's why we have the killing cones. The cones help contain the chicken. It allows the head to be exposed and for us to have access to the jugular vein on the chicken, because that's what we're going to cut. There we go. Go. So you got a nice little cut there.
We like to hold their heads to the side to help it drain a little bit faster. Some people just let them loose, but they're gonna start kicking, and sometimes if you're not holding their head, they're gonna pull their body and nerves pulls their head back in, and then you kind of got a mess. And it also helps get the blood into the bucket so it can go into the garden. We also have 4 cones set up here. When in the past, when we've had many hands, we have done 4 at a time, where we'll put all 4 birds in, let them calm down, and then I'll go through one by one, slit each throat, drain it out until it's not going to kick anymore, then move on to the next bird, and then the next person will grab the drained bird and put it in the water, just to make the process go a little bit faster. But since it's just Mike and I, we're just going to be doing 2 birds at a time.
So his nerves are starting to go. He's on his way out right now. Lights are going out in his little brain, and what you got right now are just the nerve endings. That's why you see his feet twitching, and you get in there on his feet. You see like his little feet are twitching. It's just the nerve endings firing off. That happens to almost every animal when you butcher it. But he's long since already passed out, and he doesn't feel anything anymore. He's done. All right, next step will be to cut the heads off, and that water's almost ready. Look at that. She's got guns and knives. All right, we're gonna take the head off.
Okay, so this one's mostly stopped draining. I don't take off the head until it stops jerking. Sometimes you do it a little early, and then it just gets a little bit messier. That's why I wait. So then I just go right under the feathers, saw, take it off. Then let that stop draining and move on to your next chicken.
All right, so I'm gonna show you real quick how to process the chicken. We're gonna work on, we gotta get the gizzard out first. So
Crop.
I'm sorry, the crop, you're right. You were just washing up gizzards, that's what I was thinking about that. All right, so we're gonna cut the skin back. This right here, this is the crop. I don't know if you can see that okay, but that's the crop. And it's kind of stuck to the skin and some of the breasts. So we're just gonna try and manipulate, grab it. And you're just gonna peel it back.
The crop fills up with food. So that's why we don't feed the chickens the night before, because then the crop isn't super full and it's easier to manipulate.
Okay, so you got the esophagus right here, and then you got the crop, which you see is attached to, actually this is probably the brachial tube, and then this is the esophagus for the food. So anyways, we're gonna cut those completely out, just like that. Grab the crop. I just cut them and peel them back because I'm gonna cut this neck off anyways. Right about here. I'll go to the big knife. Get through the bone. Like so. Okay. No, that's trash. Now what I like to do is turn the chicken over, and I'm gonna grab the tail. The tail's got a gland in there, so you really don't want that anyways. And I'm just gonna cut right here on the back and get right behind that bone. There we go. So I got in between the knuckles on the tailbone there. All right. And I'm gonna cut around here until I start to see this opening here. Oh, I may have cut into it. I think I did. Oops, I went a little too far. Gotta be careful of that. But another reason why we like to not feed them beforehand, because it cleans their system out. They don't have as much poop and bad stuff in there. Again, I'm gonna cut this all the way around. And that kind of frees everything up. Okay. Now I'm gonna take and cut this sack up, just the skin there. And the only reason why I'm doing that is to open that up so I can get my big fat paw in there. Because the next thing we're gonna do is you're just gonna reach in and you're just gonna start scooping all the insides out. The heart? Where'd our heart bag go?
Put it in the cooler.
Oh, all right.
Keep the heart. We're going to skewer those on some rosemary this year. Try something new. Mike's really up in there right now trying to get the lungs out. These are tricky to get out. Because they're deflated.
And they're in the rib cage. There's part of the lungs there. Alright, I think that's good enough. I'll hose it off real quick. There you go, one whole processed chicken. And we're going to take and drop them into the chill tank. Just like that. That gets the body temperature to cool down and stiffens them up a little bit. And it'll make it good for processing when we go to get ready to vacuum seal them. I like to cut the wings off because I like my chicken wings, so I keep those separate. And then pretty much, I'd say 85% of all the birds we do, we just package whole in a Ziploc freezer bag, in a freezer bag or vacuum seal bag. Vacuum seal them, freeze them in a deep freezer. And then when we go eat them, we should just throw a whole chicken in the crock pot. So this year we might part out a few legs and thighs and the breasts too. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Big old breasts.
There they are. That's today's processing. There's probably about almost a dozen birds in there. Say 11 birds. Next weekend we're going to do about another 24 birds. And then those get taken in the house later and processed up. So there's our blood. We put some water in those bags. So I'll use that in the garden. Bags of chicken feet. Yep. And all our cutting knives. I just want to show you some stuff here. It's good to have a sharpener. Keep your knife sharp at all times. A couple cutting boards are good to have. And then I love using one of these. This is a Havalon. You can change that blade. It's basically like a scalpel, and they're replaceable. So that comes in really handy. I like to use that for processing. So other than that, all our feathers from the plucking machine wash down into this bin. They can go into a compost pile and be composted. And that's pretty much it. Well, we hope you enjoyed this little informational video. We just thought we would do some processing so people see how we do it. There's a lot of different ways to do it, a lot of different techniques out there, but this is how we've been doing it for probably about the last, 5 years? Going on 5 years?
No, this is like our 6th or 7th year.
Is it that many? Okay,
yeah.
It's been that many years. Anyways, and we order our meat birds from cacklehatchery.com. They'll ship those chicks right to you, and probably a little bit of a shortage of them this year though. We got them pretty early, so we got lucky. We tried to get some more later on, but nobody's got them anymore because of the coronavirus pandemic that's going on. So people are, I guess, buying up a lot of chickens. So hopefully they know how to process them, or hopefully this video will help somebody in processing their birds. It takes about 8 weeks from start to finish. That's about how long we go, and you got to moderate your feed. We start with a grower starter. We get Tractor Supply. It's the Dumar brand. It's a 24%, and we stick with that for the whole 8 weeks. It's just that we start at the beginning with feeding them morning and night, keeping plenty of food and water, 24 hours a day for them. And then at about week 5, I start cutting them back to just feeding them during the day. We don't give them any more feed at night, and that'll slow their growth rate down a little bit so that they're not dying on you before the 8 weeks, or having broken legs, or their hearts exploding, because it happens. So other than that, thanks for watching.